Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 6, text number 13. Tasyanugunan shlokan gayanti aho bhuvah sapta samudravatya dvipeshu varsheshvadhi punyameta gayanti yatratya janamurare karmani bhadranyavataranti. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Learned scholars chant about the transcendental qualities of Lord Rishabhadeva in this way. Oh, this earthly planet contains 7 seas and many islands and lands, of which Bharatavarsha is considered the most pious. People of Bharatavarsha are accustomed to glorifying the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His incarnations as Lord Rishabhadeva and others. All these activities are very auspicious for the welfare of humanity. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Bharata bhumite haile manushya janmayar, janma sarthaka kari karo paropakar. As stated in this verse, Bharatavarsha is a most pious land. The followers of Vedic literature understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His different incarnations, and they are privileged to glorify the Lord by following the directions of Vedic literature. After realizing the glories of human life, such people should take up the mission to spread the importance of human life throughout the whole world. This is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The word Adhipunyam indicates that there are certainly many other pious men throughout the world, but the people of Bharatavarsha are even more pious. Therefore, they are fit to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world for the benefit of all human society. Srila Madhvacharya also recognizes the land of Bharatavarsha. Visheshat Bharate Punyam. Throughout the world, there is no question of Bhagavad Bhakti or devotional service. But the people of Bharatavarsha can easily understand the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, every inhabitant of Bharatavarsha can perfect his life by discharging Bhagavad Bhakti and then preaching this cult throughout the world for the benefit of everyone. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Tasya anugunan shlokan gayanti. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, while describing the activities of Lord Rishabhadeva in this chapter, a certain shloka that learned scholars chant. Tasya anugunan shlokan gayanti. It is a practice, it is prevalent that learned scholars chant this mantra, this shloka. So there is no particular reference where it is, but it is prevalent among the learned scholars. That's the understanding. Anugunan shlokan gayanti. Following, conforming to the instructions for liberation. Rishabhadeva had a certain purpose, and conforming to that purpose, there is a verse that describes. Aho bhuvaha sapta samudravatya dvipeshu varsheshu adhipunyametat. This bhuvaha, earthly planet, sapta samudravatya, which consists of 7 seas, sapta samudra, dvipeshu varsheshu, and there are many islands and many tracts of land. Dvipa, island, varsha, tracts of land. But etat, this, adhipunyam etat, this place, it's very, very special. Adhipunyam, most pious. And people who are born here are most pious. And gayanti yatratya jana. Why they are considered so special? They have the opportunity. Murare gayanti yatratya jana. People who are born in this most pious land, they have the opportunity to murare gayanti. Murare karmani bhadrani avataravanti gayanti. Of Lord Murari, his karmani, murare karmani, Krishna's activities, which are bhadrani, auspicious, and avataravanti, murare karmani, bhadrani avataravanti. Krishna also has many incarnations. And these people, gayanti, they chant, they sing, they glorify. And these activities are bhadrani, are auspicious for the welfare of humanity. Learned scholars chant about the transcendental qualities of Lord Rishabhadeva in this way. Shlokan gayanti. Oh, aho, this earthly planet, etat varsheshu, is considered the most pious. Etat adhipunyam varsheshu. People of Bharatvarsha are accustomed to glorifying the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yatratya janaha murare gayanti. In his incarnations, avataravanti, as Lord Rishabhadeva and others, all these activities are very auspicious, bhadrani, for the welfare of humanity. And in this context, Srila Prabhupada is quoting the famous verse from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it is to be recognized and that in the whole world, this Bharatvarsha is considered very special. How it is special, Prabhupada is indicating here in the purport. The word Adhipunyam indicates that there are certainly many other pious men throughout the world, but the people of Bharatvarsha are even more pious. Therefore, they are fit to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world for the benefit of all human society. Throughout the world, there is no question of Bhagavad Bhakti or devotional service. But people of Bharatavarsha can easily understand the devotional service of the Lord. There are many pious people in the world. But what is special about people of Bharatvarsha, very easily, quickly can understand Bhagavad Bhakti. Bhagavad Bhakti is regarded as the highest level of development of consciousness. So, I remember one very rich, pious woman, elderly woman in our country. She once made a statement when she had come to our temple. She said, sometimes when I'm going around in the car, she said, big woman, in the traffic lights, when the car is stopped, you see some people coming and begging. In our country, it happens. So she said something very interesting, very thoughtful. She said, sometimes I lower the glass and give them some little money, but then I think, this life I am sitting in the car. In the next life, what will happen to me? I may be like them. What is the guarantee? So it's a good question. In this life, I am a rich woman, privileged. And someone is not so privileged. So actually, this is something that we should think about. Many times when new people come, I ask them this question. The dress you are wearing, I think you chose the dress, isn't it? Or maybe somebody chose for you. Or the job you have, or the profession you have chosen. The car you have, you chose. The house you live in, you chose. And your spouse, you must have chosen. You see, all these things you choose. We choose our dress, we choose our car or vehicle, we choose our home, we choose our profession, we choose our spouse. Then I ask them the question, did you choose your parents? In which family, whose son or daughter I should be? We don't have a choice in that, isn't it? Or how intelligent someone is. Did we have a choice? If we had a choice, we could have had a little bit more intelligence then. Probably we have. Or talent. Some people are very good in singing. Some people are very good in solving problems. Some people are very good in mathematics. And some people are terrible with all this. So why some people have the talent, some people don't have? Did we choose our gender? Some of us are born as men, some as women. Did we get a chance? What do you like to be born as? Male, female? So, how are these things decided in the world? It's a thoughtful question. Because it is said that everything in the world is governed by laws. That's actually one of the very foundations of science. There are laws that describe the universe. There are precise laws that describe the universe. There are mathematically precise laws that describe the universe. And they are fixed and they don't vary. Because there are laws which are precise and which are not varying, because of this, we are able to have technology. Say, for instance, the charge of an electron. It's a fixed charge. It's not varying. Yesterday its charge was this much, today it's tomorrow. Then you won't have electronics. You won't have mobile phones. If it's randomly varying, it's fixed. Its mass is fixed. Remember, we used to do that E by M ratio of an electron, some experiment. Some scientists did that. It is fixed. Next, the question will be, who fixed it? Like that. In fact, scientists have identified about 20 or some number of constants in science, like the charge of electron, mass of electron, gravitational constant. Like that, there are a few constants. And these constants are so precise, according to science, even if they were a little bit different, by a millionth, a millionth is 10 power minus 6. A millionth is 10 power minus 12. Even they were slightly different, the world would not have come about and things would not have happened this way, and we would not be sitting here and discussing, even according to science. So this argument is called fine-tuning of the universe. There are many scientists have said this argument is one of the most powerful arguments for theism. How were these constants so accurately defined that we have a world like we have? So, this is one of the important foundations of science, because of which we have technology. That is, everything in the universe is governed by laws, and these laws are precise, and they are so precise that it can be expressed in mathematical equations. And because of this, we have science, we have technology. It's very predictable. So, now if everything around the world that we see, Galileo was one of those who recognized, it was during his time, this understanding was emerging among the thinkers. And so Galileo is said to have made a statement, it looks like the whole universe is a giant book written in the language of mathematics. You see? So now, if everything is governed by laws, precise laws, we, being born in a certain family, as man, as a woman, as an animal, as a bird, is this also governed by some laws? What are those laws? You see? This is an important question. that one should reflect on. You see, if you see the history of science, at different times, different things were discovered and understood, and that's how it has been going on. So for a long time, people did not have an understanding of gravity till Newton saw an apple falling from the tree. Right? That's a famous story. So, what did people think? How did people think when there was no understanding of gravity? When they saw apple falling from a tree, when we see an apple falling, immediately we say, hey, hold it, be careful. Something will fall off, because we know there is a gravitational field around the earth, and because of which everything falls to the ground. All things which have a mass are attracted. Actually, come to think of this, why does the force of gravity exist? You take any two massive objects, there's a force of attraction between them, it is said. Right? That's the gravitational force. And you can define the force, m1, m2 by r square. Right? Inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them and the product of the masses, so on. And this is exactly what is governing Earth and Sun, Earth and Moon, and all the planets in the universe. Why did this force of attraction come about? There's only a force of attraction, there's no force of repulsion. In electrical forces, there is force of attraction and repulsion. In gravity, there is attraction. Why is it so? Who made it so? How did this come about? We may measure it, we may take advantage of it, we may make aircrafts, rockets, satellites, take advantage of it. But how did this come about? You see, these are very fundamental questions. So, how did people think when there was no understanding of law of gravity? People thought, because Socrates, Aristotle, they were all very intelligent people, and they were hundreds of years before Newton. So they had no idea of gravity. So how would they think? Their understanding was all objects have a natural place, and they tend to go to their natural places. Apple's natural place is on the earth, so when it gets detached from the tree, it comes to the earth. You take some smoke, its natural place is up in the sky, and hence it rises up. This is how people conceived. You see, when they don't have a correct understanding, they'll come up with something. So in the same way, today, if you ask the question, why we are born in certain place, in a certain house, sometimes when devotees take me to their parents' home, sometimes they'll say, Prabhu, come to my house. I correct them. Don't say that. Your house is Prabhupada's house. Tell me about your parents' house. Oh, yes, Prabhu. So sometimes they take me to their parents' home. And sometimes I wonder, how did some living entity born here in the middle of so many streets in Bangalore, and that living entity came to the temple and became a devotee? Or anywhere in the country or anywhere. Isn't it? So, how is it and what determines we are born in a certain place? Is there some law that governs it? Someone's born in India, someone's born in America, someone's born in Afghanistan, someone's born in some other place. So, this is actually a serious thing about nationalism. People say, our country, our nation, this. There is some merit to it, there is some utility to it, because we can organize the country in the form of the world. We can organize the human society in terms of certain geographical boundaries, and we can govern it, we can rule it, we can run it. It has some advantage. But beyond that, throughout the history, throughout the world, people have been trying to identify something that binds people together so that we can all live together. That was the basis of the division of states in our post-independence in our country. The leaders of the country at that time, they thought, let's make language as a consideration. And so this was called linguistic division of the states. All people who spoke Kannada, Karnataka, all people who spoke Tamil, Tamil Nadu, so that they can all be together. They don't fight with each other. And it has some kind of a binding influence. Oh, that's why when you see someone else, hey, you're from from your state where you were born, you'll say, hey, he's my state. So some kind of a binding happens. So is this a good thing, binding? Will it really, which can bring together? You go to that state. In that state, there is a ruling party, there is an opposition party. You see how both of them will fight in their assemblies. Same language. It could not bind them. It could not bring about harmony between them. Or you go to a court in that state, in that city. Same language people, they'll be fighting in the court. Or a small, simple road accident happens. Both people get off from their car or scooter or whatever. They'll be fighting with each other in the same language. You see, language is not able to bring unity. It brings to some extent, but not under all circumstances. So actually, humanity has been looking for that unifying factor. Once I remember in some other place, one Chinese woman came and asked me something, and then I answered her something she wanted. She spoke English, I answered. And then she smiled and said, you see, we Asians are all like this. We help each other, no? So she's saying we are all Asians. It's something binding. So we are all looking for something. Language, nationality, continent, something which says we are all, humanity is all one. That's another thing. So we are all looking for something that binds us. This is what Prabhupada writes in the preface to the Srimad Bhagavatam. What is it that can truly bind every one of us? And that which can truly bind each one of us is we all have a common origin. And if we can recognize that common origin, that can become a truly binding force. And that common origin is Janmadhyasya yatonmayaditarastastartheshva bhignaswarat, that from which everything has come. And that source is Shri Krishna. You see how the whole thing. So anyway, coming back to this. So why are some people born in a certain place, in a certain with certain intelligence, in a certain gender, with a certain skin color? You see, all these. Is it governed by some law? Today, people don't have any understanding about that. Somehow we are born. You see, accidentally, somehow, randomly, because they don't have an understanding. Because just like the Greek philosophers, when they didn't know about gravity, they said somehow things fall, things go up. In the same way, right now, the current understanding about our birth, different people being born, somehow we are born. But the way the world is, if you look around, So nothing is happening. Somehow electron has something. Somehow electron is behaving. It's not like that. It is governed by laws. So in the same way, we being born in a certain family, certain country, certain talent, certain skin color, certain gender, it is actually governed by certain laws. Okay, whatever those laws are. Now, Prabhupada urges us to think even further. Why are these laws existing as they are? You see? Why do these laws exist as they are? This is a greater level of thinking. Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example about this. He gives the example of Britishers when they were ruling. They would make all kinds of laws, and we were all forced to follow. Not we, meaning our forefathers. They were all following the law. Why? That's the law. And the laws they were making, like Britishers made a law, you can grow cotton, but you cannot convert cotton into a fabric. They would export the cotton to England, London, UK, and there it will be turned into fabric. They will bring it back to India and sell here for a higher price. If we can make that from cotton to a garment, if it costs 1 rupee, they'll come and sell it to us for 5 rupees. And they made a law that you cannot make cotton into a fabric. And if people who had making looms or anything, they had to shut down. Hey, don't you know that's the law? Please shut down. Oh, okay, we should shut down. Otherwise, police will come. So people were abiding, respecting the laws. And there were a few people who started telling, why are those people making laws for us? Which is advantageous to them, not advantageous to us. Let's make our own laws. That's how the Swadeshi movement began. Independence movement. Swaraj movement began. We rule ourselves. It's called the principle of self-governance. A group of people should be governed by themselves. Not someone foreign should be ruling us. This is considered one of the important principles of modern civilization. Principle of self-governance. As this principle emerged all over the world, these colonial rulers, they started backing out. Gradually it happened. But it was there for 200 plus years. Britishers were ruling us. So people started accepting that's the law. We have to follow the law. Why that law? Nobody asks. So Prabhupada gives in the same way. People say, we are all born in a certain family, certain way, certain thing. Somehow it is. Or we may understand, like we as Hindus, by karma we were born there. Next, the question is, why karma? Why the law of karma is acting and making us being born in this place, that place? Like this, asking these questions is called jignasa. You see how these are very fundamental things. There's nothing to do with this religion, that religion. Everybody has to ask the question, why I am born in a certain family, in a certain gender, with a certain competence or incompetence. Someone else is born with a greater competence. This is jignasa. The Vedic literatures urge us to do this jignasa. If this jignasa is not there, we are like animals. Animals don't do this jignasa. Why did I become a cat? Why did I become a dog? Why did I become a bird? The animals don't have that ability to think. We have the ability to think. See how nicely Prabhupada has presented these things. Very thought-provoking. In a very thought-provoking way. And here it is said that there is the concept of Bhagavat Bhakti. You see, Many times I have had this, all Prabhupada's arguments. We are all, see, for instance, we want water, we want food every few hours. Okay, we want air. Air is there around earth. If you go up 30,000 feet above sea level, there is no air there. Why there is air here? Why there is no air there? Or it's very, very rarefied. There is atmospheric blanket all around the earth because of gravity. You see, if there is no gravity, the atmosphere would not have been there. If there is no atmosphere, we can't breathe. You see? Food comes from due to sun, water, earth, air. It's because of this our food is created and we eat food. We have fruits, we have rice, we have dal, we have wheat. We have all kinds of things that we can eat. So you can see that we are all dependent, and sun, earth, water, these are all not man-made. We didn't make this. Every morning sun rises up. Actually we take it, we don't pay serious attention to all these things. Sun is rising every day in the morning, and for the sun to give so much heat and light, what's going on there? There is nuclear fusion reaction happening there. Continuously nuclear fusion reactions are happening. 2 hydrogen isotopes are combining and becoming a helium atom, and because of that energy is released. What an arrangement. Because of that I am eating food today. You see? And that ball of fire is burning on and on every day. It's appearing. And what an arrangement this is. Like sometimes we organize our festivals. People who come and say, very nicely organized festival. And we say, yes, we organized it nicely. All our devotees organized it nicely. Who has organized this universe so nicely? You see? So recognizing God as the one who is providing all these things and leading a life recognizing God, this concept, this kind of a consciousness. Dogs also have consciousness. We have consciousness. Dog, can you tell dog, please be conscious of the God who is providing you all these things? The dog cannot understand. Human beings, we can recognize, yes, we are all benefited by the gifts of God. And hence I must be grateful to God. This sense, recognizing God, is actually yajna, the spirit of yajna. Yajna means sacrifice. When you do fire sacrifice, you are chanting mantras and you are recognizing God who has given us all these things, because of which I recognize you. That sense of recognition of God as the giver of things, because of which our sustenance is there, this understanding is the beginning of human life, varnashrama life. That's why in varnashrama, one of the important things is there are divisions and there is sense of yajna. The brahmanas are involved in yajna. The kshatriyas and the vaishyas are supposed to protect and provide for the yajna, recognizing God as the provider of everything. Everyone is involved in this consciousness that God is the provider. This recognition it is one stage of development of consciousness. To feel gratitude. This is not the highest. This is one level. The next is, if God is providing all these things for me, I must know what is God's plan. Why God has made all this world in this way. That's why Prabhupada says, when the child is young, it goes on asking father and mother, Father, Papa, give me this, Mummy, give me this. And father and mother goes on giving. But when the child grows up, say the child has now become 30 years, 40 years, he's no more a child, grown-up man or a woman. If he's still asking, Papa, give me this, Mummy, Papa will ask, hey, what are you doing? Go and work. Go and do something productive, no, in this life. When you're a child, you can ask. When you grow up, you are supposed to ask, Mummy, Papa, you gave me so many things. How can I give you something? How can I please you? This is a more elevated consciousness. So, consciousness, recognizing God as the giver is one level. Next, understanding why God is giving all these things. Can I align myself with God's intention for this creation of the world and creation of me? This aligning with the intent of God, that's called Sharanagati. That's a much later stage of development of consciousness. So very preliminary stage, simply take everything that God has given, don't recognize. That's animal life. You recognize God as the provider, this is human life, beginning of human life. Now God has provided and made all these arrangements. What was His intention? Shall I align myself with that intention? This is called Sharanagati. That's not the highest. Beyond Sharanagati, there is further development of consciousness. If God has given everything, now God has explained that I should align myself. Now, that means I have a relationship with God. That understanding of that relationship with God and being situated in that relationship, that is called, and that's a loving relationship, and that being situated in that loving relationship, being actually situated, not just knowing it, being actually situated in that loving relationship, that's called bhakti. And when that bhakti is properly developed and cultivated, the Shastras teach us that bhakti is such that it is intense bhakti. It is not some just gradual bhakti, a little bit, a feeling. No, it is intense bhakti. And it can be pure bhakti. And that's called Shuddha Bhakti. And in bhakti, the highest level is Shuddha Bhakti. And that Shuddha Bhakti, there are further, that's how you see the theory, how devotion is developed. In that bhakti, there are different flavors called rasa of bhakti. And different flavors bring greater degrees of intimacy with the Lord and understanding of the Lord. And that higher and higher understanding of the Lord and intimacy of the Lord and intensity of the Lord, that when it reaches its pinnacle, it's called Prema Bhakti. And that is the perfection of the living entity. See how all these things are so beautifully explained by Srila Prabhupada? From the Bhagavad Gita to the Bhagavatam, all these things. That's why Rupa Goswami, when he is analyzing Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotion, he says one of the characteristics of Shuddha Bhakti is Krishna Akarshaniyaha. Lord is attracted to that. Lord is attracted to that means, further Rupa Goswami explains, Krishna becomes captured by that. Krishna Vashaha. Bhakti, Krishna Vashaha. Krishna Vashi Karoti. Krishna becomes grabbed by that. That's why Mother Yashoda had such love. She could bind him with a rope. Who can bind? He is Ajita. Nobody can conquer him, but he becomes conquered by Shuddha Bhakti. That's the nature, that's one of the qualities of Shuddha Bhakti. That's the first chapter of the Nectar of Devotion. The qualities of pure bhakti, pure devotional service. It is rare, it is Shubhodaya, it is the beginning of all auspiciousness, it is rarely achieved, it is auspicious, Shubhodaya, it is and moksha laghutva krit. In front of pure bhakti, concept of pure bhakti, to be liberated from miseries of this world is a very, very laghu, very light thing. It's not a higher, serious thing. And Shri Krishna Akarshaniyaha and Sudurlabha, Sandrananda, it is full of happiness and it is rarely achieved and it is attractive even to Krishna. See, like this, Rupa Goswami analyzes and then he writes, these are all. And then for each of these qualities, he takes from the Bhagavatam, he takes from other Shastras and explains why this is so. And so he explains, Krishna Akarshaniyaha, Vashikaroti. And then he gives all the different verses, how Krishna is saying that I'm not attracted by Sankhya, I'm not attracted by Tarka, I'm not attracted by Tapasya. I'm attracted by love of God. You see how love of God is the highest thing. One last thing I will tell and then I'll close this. When Srila Prabhupada landed in Melbourne once, there was a group of devotees had arranged a very rich limousine, a big car for him. And so the newspaper reporters who had come, they saw, oh, there's a big car for him who has come from India. And India means, the land of ascetics, right? Like in Kumbh Mela, they're all ascetics. Nothing, no dress, nothing, walking. So this idea is there was there even in the 70s among the Westerners, land of ascetics. It used to be called the land of ascetics and snake charmers. That was the understanding West had about India. So this person asked the question. Actually, he was actually taking a dig. I understand you come from the land of ascetics, and are you going to teach asceticism in Australia? Because there's a big car standing for you. You see, that was his intended, like kind of a criticism. Prabhupada went close to him. He was wearing a suit, he pulled his suit. He said, no, I have not come to teach asceticism. I have come to teach how you can become a lover of God even wearing this dress. See, such a beautiful statement. I've come to teach how you can become a lover of God even when you are wearing your suit, whatever you are wearing. This love of God, Bhagavat Bhakti, is very rare. That's why Prabhupada is saying here in the purport, people of Bharatvarsha can easily appreciate this, can understand this. And hence, we must work on it, we must develop it, and share this with the rest of the world. Because this is not only for us, it's Krishna is lover of everyone. Krishna has to be loved by everyone. This is not something to be kept only among us. There are genuine seekers all over the world, and they should get this opportunity to know about Krishna. This was the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So as Kali Yuga began, this understanding of God gradually evolved and more revelation happened through all the acharyas, and it came to its highest state of revelation of God and understanding of God, understanding of our relationship with God, with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this version of Vedic philosophy is meant to be spread all over the world. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, anybody who is born in India should perfect their lives. Karo paropakar. Janma sartaka kari. Janma sarthaka is not by becoming rich, not by becoming, having a big house, big bungalow, big car, big job, big position. None of these things is considered janma sarthaka. It is attainment of love of God. So, we'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.